everyone, it's Anya here and I'm back with another video for Ophelia Talks. And today we are making a bag. Now in the previous video we made the Primula square and I found inspiration for the colors on a piece of fabric that I wanted to use as the lining of my bag. So this is the video now to make the bag. So in the previous video we made the square, and of course you can turn the square into anything, a blanket, another bag, or whatever you fancy. But today in this video we are turning it into the Primula handbag. And I found these granny bag layouts on Pinterest and I thought I would make one of those. I am also making a lining and of course the straps as well. So I have chosen a layout that requires 13 squares. So I'm going to lay out my squares according to the diagram and then I'm going to join them together. Now you have to take into account that some of these will have to be folded in half because they are for the front and the back of my bag. And then of course there's going to be a back to the bag as well. So I think maybe I should be turning over these squares here and then lay another layer, and that will give me the idea of how to put my squares together. So I will show you in a moment how to join them, which join I used. This join made sure, of course, that I had a look that went with my straps. But for you, of course, if you choose another layout, then you will have to just do the best you can to join your squares to create your bag. Okay, so to show you how to join, I am going to use a crab stitch and I'm going to obviously make as many joins as I need to. I'm trying to be efficient and not break the yarn too often, but just, whichever way you can join your diagram, that's fine. So the way I'm going to do this is the following. Obviously 2 strands, still my hook number 4, make your slip knot, insert your hook, and you're going to take your 2 squares, make sure you have the good sides on the outside, and also you, with the crab stitch, you kind of start on the wrong side. So normally we would be crocheting from here to here, but with the crab stitch you start there and you work backwards, so to speak. So we're going to get started into here, the corner chain space. You go in and you do a single crochet. There we go. And we are always going to do 2 single crochets in the corner chain spaces. So I'm now going to do my second one, and that means I'm going to go behind the stitch I just made into the corner chain space. You bring up your yarn like so and you do your single crochet as if you were doing it normally. Just make the movement as usual. Then you're going to go and find the 2 strands behind the stitch you just made. So go under these 2 strands here. Obviously there's 4 of them. Okay, so make sure you have all of them. And then also find that same V on the other side. Bring up a loop, and in the beginning it's always a little bit awkward. I try to sort of do that so my yarn would lay over there. Bring up a loop and do your single crochet. There's something, there we go. Same thing again, and as you will see, this end will sort of lay there and you will automatically crochet it in. So into the V behind, same stitch there, and you do your single crochet. So let me show you that again. So you go into this V here, and then you find the corresponding stitch on the other square. You pull up a loop, and then you yarn over again and you pull through the 2 loops on your hook. And this is how you are going to continue doing your stitch. Now this will give us a lovely little effect on top of our work here, but also make sure you don't do this too tightly because we want to open them up. Okay, so we are using this as a join. We are holding them together, but we need to be able to, you know, lay them flat, because that's obviously why we are using this join. And once you get started, as you can see, it does work quite well. So make sure your double crochets tally up. So then when you get to the corner chain space, you're going to do 2 crab stitches in there. Voila. Then you are going to do 2 chains. This is what you've got now, and look, you've got a lovely little ridge there. And now you're going to take the next 2 squares and you're going to continue exactly the same way as we did here. So this is the technique that you will be using for joining. So join your squares according to your diagram by doing horizontal and vertical lines. Now that I have finished joining, I'm going to go around the opening of my bag with a crab stitch. So I'm just going to continue from here. I've done 2 stitches here. Have I done a chain? No, just a chain, and yeah, that will get me to the other chain space there. Make sure I don't lose any strands. I'm doing it too quickly here. And now I'm just going to go around the edge. So I'm just picking up the V's of those granny squares. Now when you get to the valley here, of course depending on your bag you might not get this, but when you get to the valley here, and I haven't sewn in my end, I'm hoping to just take this along in a moment, you're going to have to do a construction here, and I was thinking maybe do crab stitches together, but that's just too confusing. So I'm just going to not do any chains, but I'm just going to continue. So I'm going to place 2 crab stitches in this first chain space here, and then straight over to the next chain space there, and I'm going to place 2 crab stitches there. And look, I think that's good enough for our sort of our dip there, and then I'm just going to continue. And here now this strands will lie along my stitches, and I will pick them up as well, crochet over them, and that way that saves me sewing in 2 ends. Okay, let me continue with my crab stitch edging here, and then I shall be getting out my sewing machine. Okay, so to make the straps for the handle, I have made 3 straps for each handle, so that means you need to make 6 straps in the colors of my bag, and I have plaited them together. But to make the base strap, we're going to take 2 strands together. I am still using my 4 hook, and we're making a slip knot. So this time again we are using 2 strands held together. Again we are considering this as 1 strand, so make sure you pick up enough strands each time. I will explain this here in this video, but there is a separate strap video coming out as well. Okay, so to get started you're going to do 2 chains, 1 and 2, then you go back to the first chain, and of course here we are looking at multiple strands, so make sure you pick up 2 strands from that first chain there. Then you go back to your working yarn. You will see that your work will turn slightly, but that's okay. Pick up the working yarn, pull it through that stitch, and then you yarn over and you do a single crochet. Then you go back to this side of your work here. You see these 2 strands from the second chain. You go under those 2 strands, you pick those up. Again, you go back to your working yarn. Your work will turn with you. Pull up a loop. And you yarn over and do a single crochet. There we go. Now on this side here you will see 4 strands, and of course that means there's 2 strands if you were using 1 strand. Okay, so make sure here 1, 2, 3 and 4, you pick up 4 strands. So what we did up to now is just to get started. This here is the start of our repeat. Okay, so you will notice that facing you will be 4 strands. You pick those up, you turn your work to go to the working yarn, you pull up a loop, and now you yarn over and pull through 2 loops. And now you will notice once again here we've got those 4 strands facing us. So you go under those 4 strands. Make sure you pick them up. There we go. I sort of tend to do a little wriggle like this, then yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. Once again now, as you can see, these 4 strands are facing me. I'm going to go under them, do my little trick here of spinning my work around. 1, 2, 3, 4, twist towards the working yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. And this way you are creating a nice thick cord almost, which of course I am using as a strap for my bag. If it was an evening bag, for example, like we've been making on this channel as well, I would just use a single strand of this, that's fine. But for my Primula bag, I really wanted a nice thick sturdy strap, and yeah, using this one, 3 of them, and then plaiting them, perfect. So you will have to make 2 of each color. Each strap will have to be 60 centimeters long, and then once plaited you will have a plait of 50 centimeters, and that's just about the length of the handle that I like for my bag. But of course, see which bag you are making and which kind of strap you need, and then you will have to take into account that when you plait them you lose a little bit of length. Make sure you leave your ends long enough, not only for sewing them on to your bag, but also for maybe adding a little bit on if it's on the short side. And now we are going to get started. Maybe it might be worth having something to hold this onto or attach it to something. I'm just going to do it like this for the video. So each time you place the outside colour to the middle, there we go. And I'm laying them nicely next to each other, like so. So the length of my strap is about 20 inches or 50 centimeters. So that means you will have to make your actual straps about 60 centimeters or 24 inches. Okay, so we're ready for the lining. Now I'm not going to show you on the machine how to do it. I'm going to just tell you here. So I have put my bag obviously onto my lining. I have cut double fabric to the width of my bag plus a good 1.5 inches on each side. This here is already folded, so I don't need to do anything there. So I have the good fabric on the inside. Then I'm going to fold this over to just about, let's see, so this is about the same level, okay, because I don't need to sew that because it's attached. This is going to be sewn, the sides are going to be sewn. Then here we are going to bring this back like so, so it reaches just about that much above. So this will be the fabric showing on the outside because we are going to have some fabric showing. Then here all I need to do is make a tunnel, and then I do the same on the other side. So you fold it over and you make a tunnel, and then you will have, of course, on the outside, make sure you have the seams nicely inside of your tunnel and then finish them off together here. But then that means you will have your tunnel to put your drawstring in. You will have pretty fabric on the outside and pretty fabric on the inside. Now the pretty fabric will only reach halfway on the outside, which is fine because you're not going to see this part anyway. So I'm going to about here at this level here, so the middle of these squares, I'm going to attach the lining to it, and part of the lining, let me just show you properly like this. So here I have my tunnel with my drawstring. Part of the lining here will sit just above here, which will be gathered together with the drawstring, but it will be attached all around here. Okay, so that's how I'm going to be making my lining. Now you don't have to make a lining, you can make it much simpler by just making the bag smaller, obviously. So just cut it so it's like this, for example. So you have this, make the 3 sides, seam this so it's pretty, and then put that, because this is not there of course, you cut it here, and then put that inside your bag, attach it right about there, and then you just have an open bag. But I want that bit on the top so I can have a drawstring to close my bag so it is closed, so it doesn't sort of fall open and you can, you know, see everything that's in there. So that's what I am doing. You don't have to have a lining at all. You can just use the bag with the crochet, but it does stretch and get bigger depending on how much you put in it. Now there are YouTube videos out there to help you make linings for bags, so please do go and have a look at one of those if this isn't clear here. So I have made my lining, so this is a little bit of overlap that will be visible on the outside. This is my inside, this is the base, and as you can see the base is the same shape as my bag. So what I'm going to do in a moment is turn my bag inside out and just attach this to there, so that there is a slight sort of attachment at the base of my bag, so if I go in it, the lining doesn't come out with it, if you understand what I'm trying to say. So that's what I'm just going to do with just some needle and thread. I'm just going to you know, sort of attach it with a couple of stitches, and then I'm going to turn it all inside out with the lining in there, of course. So here I have basting thread. You can use it for just place marking almost, you know, sort of for marking, and then after you have finished you just pull it out again or you cut it out again, so that it's not very good quality thread, so to speak, but it's just so that you have a line to follow, and that's what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to, on the inside, I'm going to do a thread going around the middle of the squares there. Then I am also going to use the basting thread to just hold the flap down on my insert, because otherwise it will be moving about when I am attaching it, and that same thread can then be used as my marking thread. So all I need to do when I am going to be sewing it in is line up my 2 white threads, sew there, and hey presto, my lining is inside my bag. I found a green coloured drawstring from my local haberdasheries, which I added to my tunnels to make the drawstrings. So this is my handle. I am holding it together with a stitch marker, and of course I have already attached this handle at the back here. There we go. So this is my opening, so it goes up, down, and then the same on the other side. I have attached the handle on the top part of this granny square, of course, but I also went down a little bit, not lower than the actual khaki cluster here. because the khaki is the secret here. So what you're going to do is, of course, I have already done this one. If this is your first one, obviously just, attach it. But then for your second side of your handle, make sure your handle is not twisted. Then you hold it against there. So hold it sort of lower than the actual edge of your granny square, but not lower than this. So you can sort of sew it in at the level of this cluster and this here. And like I said, the khaki is the secret, because with this one you're going to go all through your fabric here, because of course you can, because it's the same color. So what I have been doing is doing the khaki first. I've used both the strands at the same time, sharp needle this time, so hold it against that and then go straight through to the other side. And that way you'll be able to do a really good job connecting the handle. So now you're there, so go back in and you come out, there we go. And this way you can connect it really well. With the khaki, because you can't tell that you've done that. And of course this is very important now. This is something that shouldn't come undone at all. You're going to be carrying your bag with this, you're going to be putting stuff in it, so this has got to be done really well. And so that's why I thought doing it like this, going through and through the fabric here, will help enormously. See, already it feels very sturdy. Now also make sure that you don't get this. So now I'm going to go up a bit. Oh, yeah. Make sure you don't lose your threads. And then I'm going to go up into here and then attach as well. So I don't want a gap here. I want this to be sort of enclosed like this. So I want this to be, flush almost. Well, flush, you can't get it flush, but you know what I mean, completely attached here. So there we go. So this is how I'm going to continue. When my khaki thread is finished, I will sew the other ones in, but I will make sure that actually I don't go through. So I will make sure I go into here, into the fabric of my granny square, about, of course, on the height of these clusters, but not through, so you can't tell, the colour on the outside. You can't see the colour on the outside. And of course I'm going to try and do this for as long as I can, and then sew in the end to make it disappear. So next time you see this type of diagram on Pinterest, I hope this video has given you the confidence to just choose one, make a few squares and put them together and make yourself a bag. I had great fun trying out the square, the join, the straps and the lining, and I think I have made a wonderful bag that will come in very handy in the future. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you will make it. I hope you also will leave me a like and maybe share this video with people that you know who would like to make this type of project. Thank you very much for being on my channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!